The majority of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck with little to no investments and drowning in debt. And things are not going to magically get easier next year. Prices are expected to continue rising because of tariffs. Investors are concerned about a stock market bubble, and it's getting harder and harder to find a job because of AI. But in the middle of all this chaos is opportunity. That opportunity is ability for you to grow your wealth even faster, assuming you don't fall into these 10 money traps that I'm going to show you in this video. So please watch this video until the end, because there's a lot of things I don't think you're going to want to miss. Starting with money trap number one, a 50-year mortgage. Buying a house or even a shack is expensive. And to combat these high home prices and high mortgage payments, the Trump administration has proposed a 50-year mortgage. That way you can have lower mortgage payments. Let me show you why that's a bad idea. You want to buy this $400,000 house right here. You put 20% down and you can get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 6.5%. Well, that means your monthly mortgage payment just on the mortgage is going to cost you $2,022 a month, which means over the 30 years, you are going to pay $400,000 to buy the house, plus an additional $408,000 in interest over the course of 30 years. But take a look what happens if you were to extend your mortgage over 50 years. With a 50-year mortgage, assuming that you get the same interest rate, and generally your mortgage rate actually goes up the longer your mortgage is, but I'm going to assume you get the same 6.5% rate. Well, now your monthly mortgage payment is going to drop by a couple $100 to $1,803. But now what's going to happen is you're going to pay the $400,000 to buy the house, and then you're going to pay an additional $763,000 in interest. That means you're going to pay $350-some thousand extra in interest for the extra 20 years of your mortgage. So here you paid $808,000 for the house. Here you paid $1.16 million to buy the house. Money trap number two is all invest when the markets cool down. The stock market is near record highs right now, and some people are concerned about a stock market bubble, particularly with AI and tech stocks. And this is where some people are naturally going to say, I'm not going to invest my money until the market crashes. Well, there's two things I want you to know. Number one is that a market crash is always coming. We always have a recession coming. Over the last 100 years, we have seen 16 recessions. That means we've averaged more than one recession per decade over the last 100 years. We know that a market crash is coming. We know that a recession is coming. We just don't know when. It could be next year. It could be 10 years from now. We don't know. The second thing is that market crashes and recessions create more millionaires than any other time because they create great buying opportunities. But like Warren Buffett says, time in the market beats time in the market. You can keep some money on the side for when the market crashes, for when the recession happens, that way you can capitalize on it. But what's been proven throughout history is that waiting is often a losing game. And this is one of the simplest ways for you to start investing, which I can't tell you to do because, of course, I'm just a random guy on YouTube. Investing has risks. You are never guaranteed to make money when you invest. In fact, you will lose money at some point. So make sure you always do your own due diligence and never blindly trust a random guy on YouTube. But one of the simplest ways to start investing is just to follow a strategy that I call ABB. Always be buying. This has been a strategy proven to win, proven to build wealth over the long term. And the way it works is you just invest your money into the broad market. Say the S&P 500. There are funds out there called ETFs, also index funds, which can give you exposure to the S&P 500. I'll give you a couple examples. I can't tell you what to invest in, but SPY, SPY. This gives you exposure to the S&P 500. If you buy one share of SPY on whatever brokerage you have, you're going to essentially get exposure to the 500 largest companies in the stock market. If you want to be a little bit more broad, VTI gives you exposure to the total stock market, the 2,000 some stocks in the stock market. But if you want to get even more niche, QQQ gives you exposure to the NASDAQ 100. This is the 100 largest companies in the stock market that are not financial, so primarily tech. This is also the most volatile. When you have downturns, this one gets hit the hardest. But now the way that you win, ABB, set up a system every week, every 2 weeks, or every month. You pick which one, doesn't really matter. You set up a system every week, every 2 weeks, every month, money leaves your bank account and it's going to be invested into whatever passive investment or investments you want, and then you don't touch it. That means when markets go up, you keep buying. Markets go down, you keep buying. You go to a recession, you keep buying. You go to an economic boom, you keep buying. It's a Democrat in the White House, you buy. Republican in the White House, you buy. You have a dog, you buy. You have a cat, you buy. You don't have a pet, you buy. You can't afford the guac, you keep buying. That's how you win with the strategy. The A is always, and if you do that, it's been proven to win over the long term. Now, there are ways for you to get a little bit more advanced with their investments. If you want to find investments where the money is moving, you want to do that research. I'm not going to go over all that in this video, but I do have a free masterclass where I walk you through how you can get started as an investor and find hidden investment opportunities before they hit the headlines. I'll show you the exact framework that my firm and I use to research investment opportunities, again, before they hit the headlines. So if you want to get the investing masterclass, all you have to do is register. And when you register, you're also going to get access to Market Briefs, which is my newsletter for investors, completely free, complimentary as a bonus. So if you want to get the Investing Masterclass and Market Briefs all for free, all you have to do is register, and I have the link for you down in the description below. Trap number 3 is financing a car. Right now, the majority of Americans do not have $1,000 saved up to protect them against an emergency, yet we have a record high number of people paying $1,000 a month for a car, while the average new car payment is $749 a month. Your car is a triple whammy. It is a depreciating liability. As soon as you stick your keys in the ignition, that car is going to lose value. Number 2, you're going to be paying interest on this thing that's losing value. And number 3, it has a limited lifespan. So you might end up paying interest on a car after you finish driving it. Now let's do a little comparison. You're paying $749 a month to buy this car, plus the premium gas, plus the insurance, plus the maintenance. So it's going to cost you $1,000 a month, but let's just stick with $749. After 25 years of you paying $749 a month for this car, your car is going to be worth about $0. If you take the $749 and you just throw it into the markets and you get the average market return, 10% a year, you're not trying to find any good stocks, you're just putting your money into the markets. Well, now, after 25 years, you're going to have $1 million. After 30 years, your car is going to be worth, again, $0. Your investments are going to grow to $1.6 million. You finance the car for $749. After 40 years, you're going to have, well, let me do some math, $0. If you invest that money for 40 years, you're going to have $4.4 million. You pick which one you want. The time is going to go, do you want to be broke? Do you want to be wealthy? You pick. Now you're going to say, well, Jaspreet, I need a car to get to and from work. You're right. When you finance this car, you put $8,000 to $12,000 down. Take that down payment, $8,000 to $12,000. Get yourself a nice Toyota Corolla, Toyota Camry, Honda Accord. Pay it with cash. You got a good working car. It's not the premium insurance. It's not the premium gas. But you got a nice car. And then you can build your wealth, buy whatever car you want then. Because now, guess what? You can buy that BMW, you can buy the Mercedes, you can buy the Lamborghini. You can buy it with cash, you don't gotta worry about the price. Number 4 is not studying AI. The CEO of Walmart, the largest private employer in the world, recently announced a 3-year hiring freeze because of AI. On top of that, getting an entry-level job has become so much more difficult because we can automate a lot of those basic tasks with AI. And if that's not enough reason for you to start learning about AI, let me tell you a personal story. I ran a company called Briefs Media. We were doing very well, but then as I started to learn more and more about AI, it became very clear to me that, oh crap, if we keep doing what we're doing, which is publishing financial news, publishing investment research, we're going to be bankrupt by 2035. Then I started doing some more digging and learning, and I realized, oh, we're not going to be bankrupt by 2035, we're going to be bankrupt by 2030 because we won't be able to just compete with AI. So we made a full company pivot. Now we're going to be transitioning to Briefs Finance as a fintech company, a financial technology company powered by media, and we've put a ton of energy, effort, resources, money, time into building a new AI software tool to help investors make better investments. It took a lot of work and energy, but if we didn't make that switch, we probably wouldn't be in business for very long. So, if you have not started learning how AI works, this is the time to do so, not just in your career, your investments, anywhere to help you be better with money. And there are 3 things that you can consider learning. Number 1 is learn about prompting. Take a class about prompting, watch YouTube videos on prompting. Everything with AI today is all about how do you ask the right question. The better questions you ask, the better outputs you're going to get. Number 2 is how can you increase your output and efficiency from your job or your business. It doesn't matter what skill, what degree, what job you work, figure out how you can use AI in your job, in your business. And if you don't know, just go to ChatGPT, tell it what you do, and ask it how you can use AI to be more efficient, because before you get replaced with AI, you're going to be replaced by somebody who understands AI, because that understanding of AI is going to allow you to do your job much better. And number 3 is, of course, as an investor, you want to think about, could this improve your investment decisions? Are you investing in companies that are utilizing AI? Are you investing in companies that are able to be more productive, able to be more efficient, able to grow their profits? Because if that company that you're investing in is not, it might be replaced by a company that is getting more efficient, that is getting more productive through its use of technology. Number 5 is the tax refund trap. The funny thing about your tax refund is it's not free money. It's money that you overpaid to the United States government that they then kept without paying you any interest, that they're just now paying you back. So it's essentially a 0% interest loan that you gave to the United States government. And right now, the average tax refund is expected to be around $2,000. But do you want to know what's even more interesting? It's that time of year when tax refunds go out, you start to see sales at companies skyrocket because companies know that when you get the free check that you get from the government, people want to spend it. This is where I want you to be smart. If you get a tax refund, don't just go out and blow that money as a free money check. Use that to pay down your debt, to save some money, and start investing that we can actually start building some wealth. And if you want to be even better and proactive, figure out how you can stop overpaying the government in taxes. And if you say, Jaspreet, how do I do that? Well, the IRS recently put together an income tax withholding calculator on their website. That way you can see how much money you should be withholding from your taxes. And if you want to use that calculator, I'll also link it for you down in the description. Number 6 is the bond trap. The gold standard for investing for decades has been the 60-40 portfolio. And what it says is 60% of your investments are stocks, 40% of investments are bonds. Well, this portfolio does not work the same way that it does, and we've seen big investors from around the world talk about why the 60-40 portfolio is not the gold standard anymore. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, even said that the 60-40 portfolio doesn't give you real diversification anymore. There's two main reasons for this. Reason number 1 is that historically, stocks and bonds were negatively correlated, meaning when stocks would go up, bonds were not doing very good. But when stocks went down, bonds normally went up. That's how it went, and that's why the 60-40 portfolio was good. It's because you'd be able to continue to see growth no matter what type of economy that you're in, economic boom or recession. But that started to change in 2022 because for the first time, we saw stocks crash, but we also saw the bond market crash in the same year. So the negative correlation between stocks and bonds is not what it used to be. And on top of that, the return that you're getting from bonds today is not that strong either, because the interest rate that you're getting from these bonds is under 5%. And then when you factor in taxes, and then when you factor in inflation, realistically, you're not really making any money at all from these bonds. This is where, if you want to be investing your money, you need real diversification. That way you can continue to make your money through different economic cycles. That means investing your money in real estate, investing your money in stocks, investing your money in cryptocurrency, investing your money in startups, investing your money in gold. That's real diversification. You don't have to do it all right now, but you have to start with one, and when you start to think about real diversification, stocks and bonds is not that real diversification that it used to be. Number 7 is the 401k trap. If you invest your money in a 401k, 403b, or anything like that, you are paying a fee. And ironically, most people who use a 401k don't even know what their fees are or that they're paying a fee. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is something you should be aware of. If you invest $1,000 a month into your 401k, you get a basic 10% return on your money. You do this for 30 years, and then you pay a small little 1% fee. This is called an expense ratio, and I want you to go check your 401k and see what your expense ratios are. This used to be close to what the average is, and recently somebody sent me a message actually saying, Jaspreet, I just found out my 401k fee is 1.67%. Wanted to see what I should do. Well, here's the thing. Let's talk with the 1% fee. What that means now is your money is going to grow to around $1.6 million, which sounds pretty good. But what you should also know is that over the course of your career, you paid around $300,000 in fees. And the reason why it's so much is because as your money is working to compound and grow, your fees are also compounding on every dollar that you invest, plus every dollar of profit. And this is where it's so important to understand this fee, because yes, it can be worth it if you're going to get big enough returns to justify the fee. But a lot of times people are investing their money into funds, not knowing what the fund is, not knowing how good the fund is, not knowing how good the fund did in the past. And sometimes these fees can be extremely high. So your homework, go check your 401k, see what that expense ratio is. Number 8 is the minimum payment trap. Life is expensive, and credit card debt in the United States is now breaking record highs. If you have $8,000 worth of credit card debt, which is around the average credit card debt in the United States today, and you have a 20% APR, and you only make the minimum monthly payment of $160 a month, which is what a lot of people like to do, pay that minimum monthly payment, it's going to be very expensive. Number one, it's going to cost you over 9 years and 1 month to actually pay off the $8,000 of debt, assuming you don't spend another penny on the credit card. And then not only are you going to pay back the $8,000, but you're also going to pay an additional $9,000 in interest. Actually, a little bit more than $9,000 in interest. This is why the credit card companies fly around in private jets and have the big buildings. It's because you're paying them the big interest to allow them to do so. If you have credit card debt, I call this a financial danger zone. And the way you get out is by spending less money, earning more money, that we have money to pay this off. And during this period, you have to make extreme sacrifices. That way you can stop making the credit card company richer. That means no more eating at restaurants, no more traveling, and no more Netflix. That way you can pay this off. And the reason why I say no more Netflix is not so you save 15 bucks a month. It's because the Netflix subscription is costing you 2 to 3 hours a day. And during those 2 to 3 hours, you could be learning or you could be earning, and you need to do that. That way you can pay this off. Number 9 is the high yield savings account trap. High yield savings accounts are great. You can put your money into the savings account and earn 4.5% a year in interest on your savings. But there's a couple things you want to be aware of. Number one, the Federal Reserve Bank is now in cutting mode. They are cutting interest rates, so you can expect your high yield savings accounts to drop going into 2026 and beyond. The other thing that I want you to be aware of is although you're generating 4.5% in interest in the high yield savings account, you also have to pay taxes on the interest that you're generating. So in reality, you're not generating 4.5%. You're generating whatever the net is after you pay taxes. And so what a lot of people have done is they said, I'm not going to invest my money because I got this safe return on my high yield savings account. Well, just be aware that the interest rate from a high yield savings account is going to be falling as the Fed cuts interest rates, which means if inflation stays high, the value of your savings could be dropping relative to inflation. And last but not least is number 10, the broke mindset trap. Look, the reality is all success starts with your mindset. That's why I call this channel the minority mindset. And if you want to become wealthy, it starts here before it actually hits your bank account. And this is where you have to believe in yourself. It is going to be hard. Be willing to work hard. There's a lot of crap on the internet of people saying, oh, you want to get rich? All you got to do is follow this simple 6-step program. And then in 6 months, you're going to be making $6,000 a month doing nothing but chilling on the beach. All you got to do is pay my program for $999. Well, that's not how it works. You have to work hard. You got to keep willing to learn, and you got to be willing to try things and take risks. You're going to lose money, you're going to make mistakes, it's a part of the process. But you got to keep working towards one thing, and if you keep hopping from the next thing to the next thing to the next thing, it is going to be impossible for you to see that success, but you have to believe it's possible for you, because when you believe it's possible, now you're going to start learning how to make it possible, and that means start by watching YouTube videos, then buy some books, then buy some classes. Then as you start to see some success, maybe buy some coaching or some consulting, but you got to be willing to invest. And that means investing your time, investing your energy, and investing your money. And stay committed. It is hard. But eventually, if you realize it doesn't work, yeah, make the switch. But be willing to stay committed to see if it actually works or not. And believe that you can do it. Just because other people say you can't does not mean that you cannot. You got to be your biggest cheerleader, the biggest supporter until you start to see the success. And then everybody who doubted you is going to say, oh, I believed them the whole way. I'm so happy that you made it. Well, you got to be the one to push yourself until you get to that point. Again, for those of you that are investors, I have a free investing masterclass for you down in the description. And if you got value out of this video, the best thank you is a referral. So if you could, please share this video with a friend, family member, colleague, or fellow investor so we can continue to spread this type of financial education. Thank you. The Fed just announced that they're going to end quantitative tightening come December 1st. In plain English, that means that the Federal Reserve Bank wants to start printing money and boosting markets again as we go into 2026 as a way to stimulate the economy. This economic shift is going to affect everybody. It affects the stock market, it affects the value.